Hey y'all. As we kick off Project One, I thought it'd be good to share with you some examples of redesigns that I've created in my freelance capacity, and then also share with you a few tips and tricks and resources that I go to when maybe I'm initially kicking off a redesign project. So I've got three examples to share with you of some projects that I've done as before and after redesigns. So this first one was for a group that owns the URL, which blows my mind, of elephants.com. The fact that they secured such a simple URL so long ago is amazing. And this is for the Elephant Sanctuary here in Tennessee. And so the Elephant Sanctuary is the nation's largest habitat refuge developed specifically for African and Asian elephants. It's just a great cause. They rescue elephants from zoos and other organizations where they might not have the best habitat to thrive in. And there's a multi-acre refuge in Tennessee where these elephants can roam the mountains freely. I'm sure for those living near this, it's kind of awkward to hear elephants' noises in your backyard, but nevertheless, it's such a great cause and a great organization. And here is an example of their original website when I first came into the picture to partner with an agency here in town to create the redesign. Some of my initial thoughts on this page is that it looked really outdated. This redesign occurred, I think, back in 2016, 17-ish, and it just felt really outdated. And it was an image-based UI. And we'll get into a little bit of why that's important to have flexible content, to have a text-based approach to your site for accessibility and for the Google crawlers and things like that. But a lot of just kind of on the surface issues with this site. When you first look at it, there's no real call to action to the site. There's no impactful images of their main product being the elephants themselves, the main attraction, if you will, to the site and to the organization. And there's no main, action of the EliCam. The EliCam is one of their most popular features. It's actually a live look at their elephants in the sanctuary. It's leveraged by elementary school students and other organizations that might be teaching about animals and things like that. And they can actually tap into their live feed and see these elephants in the wild. And the call to action to donate kind of gets lost. It doesn't appear anywhere in the top navigation. Really, it's kind of buried underneath kind of a rotating graphic that's broken in the screenshot that I've got for you. And that's because it's Flash based. And whenever you can avoid Flash at this point in web history, you should do that. On the next page is an example of the redesign that I created. Very simple. It came as a part of a new branding effort that this organization had. They had also recently conducted just a beautiful photography shoot of the elephants. The photographer was in their habitat, was in their environment, and just got some beautiful photography. And it was a great chance to highlight that for this site. We wanted to leverage those images throughout the website just to showcase the elephants in their habitat and in their environment. I also wanted to highlight the primary calls to action. I wanted to highlight the fact that you can quickly and easily donate, that you could get to the EliCam, that you could see the news or shop on their website. And so wanted to achieve that through the redesign. And then also one of our goals was to give elephants their own personality. And so, as students come to the site, as they interact with it, we want to see their names, their faces, their pictures, what they're like in their habitat. And so with that photography, we wanted to highlight that as well, and tell the story and share the mission of the Elephant Sanctuary and really highlight that as well. And so on this site, you might notice something a little odd. You see kind of some different language here. This is called lorem ipsum. It really is just filler text for designers when they know that there's content that's going to be there, but they're not quite sure what that content is. I think it's best overall to avoid using lorem ipsum, but obviously there will be circumstances where you have a great idea for content, but maybe the content's just not available yet. In your redesign project, I'm encouraging you to use the content that's available on the site or quickly craft your own. That's what I'm planning on doing as I walk along with you in the redesign. So I wouldn't expect to see any lorem ipsum in your redesigns. Let me jump into what this actually looked like when it was developed. And so you can see this is actually, now we're at elephants.com. The layout's a little different, and that's okay. The developers and the agency that I worked with changed things up just slightly, but really stayed true to the overall intent of the design. Compared to where we were at, as you saw earlier, the navigation is very simple. I can quickly go to about, see the history. I can see news. I can learn. I can see the elephants. I can jump in. I can also quickly donate. As I scroll down, I can easily jump into some of those additional calls to action here as well. And I can see videos and other great content throughout the site. Let's quickly jump into the EliCam and see if anybody is live right now. So cool. You can see it doesn't look like any elephants are roaming in that habitat. They've also really highlighted some other habitats as well that I can quickly jump to down here. And just overall, a really cool site. Really, great way to experience the elephants in their habitat in the wild. And so that was really one of my favorite redesigns that I ever did was elephants.com. Let me take you to another one real quick. This was for Kellyspaldingdesigns.com. And so Kelly is a local artist, designer who has a shop in downtown Franklin, Tennessee. My wife actually worked for this boutique here a few years ago. And she provides services for interior design. She has a shop where you can come in and see some items to purchase and consult with her. And it's just a great little shop there just on the outskirts of town where they focus on stylish, vintage, chic decor. And when I came to the site, one of my first thoughts was, I really don't get that vibe from this site. I don't get stylish, vintage, chic decor from the original site that she had. I questioned, what does the company actually do? I see a picture of their shop, their house, a lot of text, but how can I view her work? How can I make a decision on if I should consult with her based off what I'm seeing on this website? As you know, artists, the work is what sells you as an artist. What sells ultimately the product is seeing pictures of it. And this site just really lacked some of that initially. Also, the navigation was oddly placed at the bottom of the site. That's never a good place for the navigation, at the very bottom. You want your users to be able to quickly see what's available on the site, to interact with it, be able to quickly jump to the appropriate places they need to within your site. Also, there's so much text on this page, and so there's a lot of reading to do without any real purpose as to why I should even be reading this content in the first place. And so in this redesign, I really wanted to highlight the things that would sell her services as an interior designer. Here in this image, this hero image, as we call it on the homepage, she designed this interior space for this home, and it's beautiful. It would sell somebody on her services, seeing the photography of the layouts that she has. The primary action of consultation, or let's chat, in the top right corner of the nav is clearly highlighted. I can easily get to it as a potential customer or user. Like I said, I wanted to highlight the amazing work and photography and just the interior design aesthetics that Kelly and her team has. I wanted also to have that purpose statement highlighted upon arrival, so you didn't have to guess kind of what her style or what her vibe was. So vintage chic decor for home and entertainment, and just really have the user be able to see that off the bat. And then also highlight some of the products that you might see in her store, which on the old site, if you remember, was lacking. I didn't know what products she sold in her store. And so let's jump over to the redesign here. It also has changed a little bit as well, which you can expect to happen over time. I personally developed this site using a platform called Squarespace. If you're curious about setting up your own personal website or your own portfolio site, Squarespace is a great resource, a great tool to manage that content. And for Kelly's site, who was going to be updating content a lot and wanting to do that on her own, I thought it'd be best to set her up for a content management system like Squarespace. But you can see here, just on her site, compared to what she had before, I can see photography of what she has in store. I can shop online. I can see her interior services. I can visit the store. And so there's just really great features now within the site where I, as a user, or I, as a potential customer, can come to her site, get an understanding of what she does and what she creates and her style, and see if it's the right fit for me. And so Kelly has maintained and built this herself over time after I redesigned it and got it set up for her. But you can see just beautifully highlighting her photography, her interior design skills, and really selling potential clients on her talent as an interior designer. So another great project, one that I had a lot of fun on. And I'll share with you just this third one, a recent redesign that I had the chance to participate in. So this is Carrie Underwood. I think maybe we all know who Carrie Underwood is. American Idol, winner, country music artist, Grammy Award winner, of course, extremely talented artist. And so I got brought in as a designer to consult and redesign her most recent update to her website. Being in Nashville and being in the graphic design and UI UX design space, oftentimes we'll get clients or opportunities to do awesome and amazing stuff like this. And so some of my initial thoughts as I came to this original site was that hero image is really big. And that can work, but oftentimes hero images, or if you ever go to a website where the hero images scroll, the traffic is minimal to that. Oftentimes users don't scroll past the first rotator. They want to be able to get to the action quicker. And so my initial thought was, this is just a really big image when I come to it. It's also not really aesthetically pleasing to me personally. It's kind of like, a photo or a headshot of hers that's kind of thrown in there. There's no real consistency in the design to me. I knew the glitter factor in the recent redesign or the rebrand of the new album was going to play a part, but I thought maybe we could use it a little bit better throughout the site and not use it to lose the navigation. And there's just lots of things happening at once on this page, lots of things loading, lots of things coming onto the page that was really distracting to me as the user. And so in my proposed redesign, the reason for it, there was a new album coming out. We wanted a clearer call to action to continue watching her new video she was releasing. We wanted to highlight a large, impactful image or video in that opening space as the user comes to the site. I moved the rotator down the page a little bit to entice the user to scroll and to get past that first initial content. And to be able to interact with more items down the page as you interact with her website. And then I wanted easy access to social media and a clean and clear navigation. And so this came with a lot of great partnership and consultation with her representation and label. And I think we had a really great redesign. Let me bring that up here. So this is, and I'll just reload it for us. This is the new redesign. And so you can see large, impactful video at the very top of the page. You can see the navigation is really easily labeled that I can come to the very top and see if I want to jump into her bio, I can get to that. But if I want to see music, I can get there as well. The social media icons are very easily noticeable. And as I scroll down the page, here's where that rotator comes into play. So we knew this was going to change depending on the season, the album, the artwork. And so we wanted to create consistency up top here in the video that was playing and allow for that flexibility a little bit further down the page. A real easy way to sign up for updates, also some news. And you can see we layered then the glitter in the background, so it wasn't distracting from the text. It wasn't overlaying on top of the text, but really just kind of gave a nice subtle nod to the glitter, but not overpowering on the site there within carrieunderwoodofficial.com. So I say they're all my favorite, but by far this was my favorite redesign I've ever been a part of. Her team was great to work with, and I think we had a great product there at the very end. I just wanted to share with you one cool tool that I think is just really awesome to have in your back pocket. The old saying is true. Nothing really ever dies on the internet. And Wayback Machine is an example of that. Wayback Machine, you can find this at web.archive.org. And it really serves as kind of a snapshot in time of URLs. And so, we visited elephants.com earlier. And so I'm just going to type in elephants.com and let's see what comes up here. So it's going to search the web and see where the content management system has pushed a change or an update. And let's go all the way back to 2015 and just select a random day. And you can see then what that site actually looked like back on March 4th, 2015 at the URL elephants.com. And so you can see some of those old assets coming up. And so I don't know how they do it. It's just internet magic, but it's really cool to be able to see how historically a site may have changed over the years. Lets you know what images or what to not repeat, what not to do, or maybe what was working well back in the day. I'm going to go to another one here. I'm going to actually bring up my old personal website. You can see this was my site that I created, my own personal brand site. This was the first website that I created out of school. And so you'll kind of get to see a snapshot. So this has changed over the years. And this was just one of my first websites that I had created for my own personal portfolio. And it's changed and adapted over the years. Now it's at madebyfirm.com. And you can see how how my style, my own personal style has changed over the years. But Wayback Machine is just a really cool tool for you to be able to go back and see how sites have changed and evolved and have adapted over time. In this module, I've linked to one other resource that I think does a great job that I've seen recently. Is a great follow on Instagram. I'd encourage you to do that. It's Rand Siegel. And he's taken up the initiative of asking for redesigns and then going through the redesign process. And I think his thought process and the way he's modeled that would just be a great, if you spend 10 minutes just looking through some of his stories and interacting with his content, he'll come up in a couple of videos that we include throughout the course. But you can see just in his highlights here, he's got some redesign. So here he's actually redesigning this website here. And he'll say, this is his redesign of his work, the after, and some of the things that, he's tried to highlight and highlight his calls to action here. What I really love is that he takes just that little extra effort to say, here's what I did. I moved the text under this. I've actually made the calls to action and the subtext a little clearer. Let me just cycle through this and get to a brand new one. And he gets, of course, the votes to see. Here's one that he's created for your emotional well-being website.org. And so he'll go through and take screenshots of what it looked like before and highlight maybe some of the areas that he might want to look at. Here he appreciated the color palette. But he highlights that there are 3 overlapping layers here. It's a really cool idea, but maybe it can be executed better. And then just a picture of what that could look like in the background. And just highlighting, we're here to lend a helping hand, but what do you actually help with exactly? The same way I was articulating in some of those earlier slides was they might have a great call to action. They might have the design style of vintage chic boutique, but is that really what it looks like? Is your site actually communicating that? So I would encourage you to follow Rand Siegel. He's a great follow. He does a lot of great redesigns, and just spend a few minutes watching those highlights to get an idea of maybe how to go about thinking about a redesign. I wanted to highlight one other thing in this video was a plugin that I use on Google Chrome. And so in Google Chrome, you can search kind of the Google Chrome web store and get plugins for your browser. You can see it in the very top right corner here. This Go Full Page full screen capture is great. I can actually use it to take screen scrapes take screenshots and things like that. So let's go back to Elephant Sanctuary, and I'll just click this button after I install it. I plug it in, and you can see it's kind of got the Pac-Man chomp there. And what it's doing is just taking a screen scrape down the page, and then once it's completed that, I have a JPEG that I can download and use in the module instructions for this module down below. You can compile these as a PDF, share your screenshots, and have a great artifact of the original site, the current site that you'll be redesigning. So I personally am going to walk along with you in this, and so I'm going to choose to do handlesicecream.com. I personally worked at Handles for oh gosh, 6 years there on South Avenue in Boardman. So I'm excited this hits close to home. And so we'll see what we can do as far as a mood board goes and wireframes and redesigning handlesicecream.com. But here's just some instructions for this module that you see below. Due 1/19 at 11:59 p.m. I noted in one of the earlier videos that I've changed those timestamps to be a little bit more clear. Rather than saying midnight, it's 11:59 p.m. on January 19th. First thing I want you to do is to think about some of the local businesses you might often go to, or whose websites you might have recently visited in the Valley, in Youngstown, the general area that you live in, and just think about some of those local businesses. Once you choose one, take screenshots of both desktop and mobile. And so that Go Full Page product is great. You can actually take a screen grab. If I really wanted to see, and this may be a cool tips or trick here, if I really wanted to see and take a screenshot of mobile, what I can do is in Google Chrome is just right click and go to inspect. And I can change it'll bring up for me some of the code, and you might not need to nerd out on this a little bit right now, but I can change what this website's going to look like, and maybe I can grab screenshots for mobile a little bit easier. So here I chose responsive. I can size it, but you can take screenshots for an iPhone X, and it then sizes that screen down to iPhone X. So that's a cool little plugin or feature of Chrome. You just right click on it and you hit inspect, and you can actually inspect what this site would look like on the web, or on a full screen laptop, or on full screen desktop, or down to a mobile responsive site. I can just quickly hit the X and get out of there. I can also use this plugin feature as well, and it'll screen scrape a mobile screenshot for me. So that's a cool feature to take a look at. Just right click in your Chrome browser and hit inspect, and then you can play with it and adjust the sizes where needed. But in this assignment, take screenshots, both desktop and mobile, of their home page, their interior page. Think of a page like about, or in this case for handles, their menu. So just a page that would exemplify kind of what an interior or secondary page of their site would look like. And then if you have a contact page, grab the contact page. If you don't have a contact page, Handles doesn't have one, just pick a third page that you can redesign, or you'd want to highlight as part of your redesign. It'd be good to take both desktop and mobile screen scrapes of those, and then share those screenshots. Again, if you can compile them as a PDF or share them, directly as an image within the discussion post, that's fine too. But typically, if you've got a lot of screenshots, it's great to compile them in one PDF and share. Share those screenshots along with a link to that website with your group, or within the discussion post below there. And then include 3 things you'd like to focus on as a part of improving the site in your redesign. Shoot for about 200 to 300 words. So find your local business, take some screenshots of that business's page, both desktop and mobile, compile those into a Word doc or a PDF, and share those in the discussion post below, and then provide 200 to 300 words as to some of the things you might want to focus on as a part of the redesign. This video went a little longer than I thought it would, but hopefully it provides a little bit of a great overview of some of the redesigns that I've personally been a part of, some interesting tips and tricks as you think about how to grab screenshots or some other resources for before and afters. And then also that Wayback Machine is just a great tool to have in your back pocket to see where sites started from and where they're at today. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video and knocking out this module, and I'll see you in the next one.